Good afternoon. My name is Franz Nicolay. I've been a professional touring and recording musician for almost 30 years. I've played on almost 200 records and over 2,000 concerts all over the world, as far as Siberia, Mongolia, and China. I've played Carnegie Hall, and I've played no-name punk houses. I'm a rock and roll lifer with a sideline in writing and teaching. I give my credentials in brief because I don't expect anyone in this room to know my name. The music industry obviously is always going to focus on the Taylor Swifts and Bruce Springsteens, but the monopolistic forces that control the industry equally affect the broad popular music middle class, the non-famous music workers who've been the focus of my writing and my lived experience. When we talk about the US economy, the headlines focus on the biggest firms, but we all understand that the effects are felt by the millions of semi-anonymous individual entrepreneurs and small businesses. The same is true in the music economy. Our business today lives and dies on ticket sales and on the merchandise we sell at those concerts. For example, my income from the music over the last 5 years averages about 10% from record royalties and 90% from live performance and the merchandise we sell at those shows. We are no longer really in the recording business, we're in the performance business. But this also means we're in the repeat customer and customer service business. Being in a rock band in the 21st century is not the Dionysian bacchanalia conjured up by the term rock star. Those of us lucky enough to do this are middle-class proprietors of small businesses, which we've built over many years, and which depend, like any small business, on maintaining a healthy relationship with loyal customers, or as we call them, fans. This means we're not in the business of squeezing every penny out of them at every opportunity and maximizing our profit in every transaction. What the middle-class musician wants is not a fan who spends $2,000 for a stadium concert once, but one who can afford a ticket with enough left over to buy a t-shirt, a poster, a couple drinks, which benefits our friends at the independent venues, and has the kind of good time that makes them want to come back next year when we return. They want to feel like we're in this together, band and audience, from a place of mutual respect, not that their love for what we do is being exploited. We're like the local general store in a small town. We may be the only place that offers the things our friends and neighbors need, but that doesn't mean we want to take advantage of them. We want them as friendly, loyal, repeat customers who feel themselves to be members of the community we establish through our music. But we're also, to fans, the face of ticket sales. So if concert tickets sell out in seconds and instantly appear on secondary markets for 5 times the price, or if mysterious fees add 20 or 30% at checkout, they can't complain to Ticketmaster, they come to our Facebook page. So business practices we can't control hurt our crucial relationship with our fan community. In a healthy competitive market, with multiple independent venues, promotion, and ticketing options, predatory fee schemes could be avoided without the burden falling on the relationship between artists and our audiences. But live music hasn't been a healthy competitive market. Instead, a vertically integrated corporation that controls venues and tour promotion and ticketing and artist management to the almost total control of many music markets is, to a comical degree, the epitome of the kind of monopolistic power that antitrust law was created to address. We as artists simply don't have the range of city-to-city, venue-to-venue choices that would constitute a healthy ecosystem, as non-Live Nation venues are consolidated or forced out of business, or feel pressured to adopt extractive Live Nation policies to stay afloat. And we're in solidarity with independent venues and promoters because they gave us gigs when we didn't have any fans and helped us build what we've been able to build. So we ask that ticket resale and speculation be capped at or near face value so that our fans are not being exploited at no benefit to us, the artists. We ask for full transparency about fees, going further than the floor set by the FTC rule, so fans are aware who's responsible for higher ticket prices. We hope that the remedies phase of the lawsuit results in the breakup, which doesn't just separate Ticketmaster from Live Nation, but also separates the venue and artist management businesses from their tour promotion businesses. We simply want to be able to retain and manage the relationship between musician and audience without the influence of extractive corporate power. We try to do business in a sustainable way that embodies respect for fans rather than squeezing every last dollar from them. And we want the opportunity to partner with companies who share those values. Thank you for your time.
And I'll address this to you, Mr. Michelson, Mr. Nicolay. You spoke so powerfully about what it means for your consumers, your fans, as you said, or to you, Mr. DeGeorge. But how does this ultimately affect your fans, your consumers, and the effect on music itself as an industry?
Sure. I mean, it benefits us. We're talking about Live Nation and Ticketmaster that are operating on the upper levels of the music businesses from the artist point of view. But to grow musicians to get to that level, you need a healthy ecosystem of smaller venues, of alternative venues, of venues of different sizes, of venues that work with different genres. And if those venues are squeezed out of particular markets, then they're not going to have the bands that grow even to the level where they have to worry about Live Nation and Ticketmaster. And to the extent that Mr. DeGeorge was talking about having to compete in terms of the guarantees with Live Nation, those costs trickle down to fans as well. Mm-hmm. You have to raise the ticket prices, you have to charge more for drinks and amenities at the club, and it hurts everybody.
So, Mr. Nicolay, what do your fans say? And I want to ask the same question to you, Mr. DeGeorge. What do your customers say? To what extent do they understand this as an exercise of monopoly power that's squeezing the ticket prices in the venues?
They understand when ticket prices go up. They understand when fees magically appear at the end of a transaction. We don't want them to have to think about this other stuff. Frankly, I don't want to have to think about this other stuff. I want to have to think about, how the chord resolves in the bridge of the song. But, if we have a situation where, for example, not to get too in the weeds of my band's business, but due to post-pandemic Ticketmaster policies, if we have multiple shows in a city in a weekend and we want to offer other things like a merchandise bundle, we ran into a situation where Ticketmaster was forcing us to offer these items a la carte so they could charge a separate fee for a guitar workshop, a meet and greet, a merch bundle, which again, they have no role in producing or fulfilling. Rather than one fee for a bundled transaction. And we found ways, eventually, it took us a couple of years to find ways around that. But then we have to explain to fans why, the way we found around it was through a fan club with a subscription. We had to explain to them about the subscription. It causes more friction between us and the fans.
Yeah.
Mr. Nicolay, people may not appreciate how tough a business music is. Music is a really tough business. What they see are the stars, Taylor Swift making billions, but I've known some of the artists who have struggled, and you've seen it firsthand. It is a really grinding, challenging business. Physically, emotionally, financially. And when Ticketmaster Live Nation profits by exploiting the resale market and forcing artists to release their tickets there first, it affects what they earn as well as what the venues earn, and it affects what the fans pay and what they think of the artist. Am I correct?
Yeah, and one of the effects is that, one of the byproducts is that artists are made to feel that if we're not pricing tickets as high as we possibly can, we're leaving that extra revenue on the table for extractive third parties to collect. And those of us who come, the music business is a funny combination of business and art, right? And it has these utopian ideals that we want to balance with the business necessities of it. And so one of the effects of the influence of companies like Live Nation and Ticketmaster is to try to drive a wedge between that community of artist and fan, and we have to be able to retain that as much as we can.
I just have a quick final question for Mr. DeGeorge and Mr. Nicolay. I've talked to a number of the venue owners and operators, and frankly, I've been told often they fear retaliation a couple of artists have stood up to Ticketmaster. Pearl Jam, at the very outset in the 1990s, stood up to them on excessive booking fees. And Professor Alford has said very eloquently that standing up for justice sometimes requires a professional and personal price. I wonder if you have found artists and venues fear retaliation.
I think some artists are reasonably worried about retaliation. Artists who expect are going to have to maintain a working relationship with Live Nation for the foreseeable future to be able to tour successfully, especially once you're playing venues or festivals of a certain size. Many other artists are understandably cynical after years of inadequate response. Even after this huge win, it's going to take some time for artists to believe that it's real. The tools of antitrust in the past have sometimes been used to prevent musicians from working together, and I want to credit Representative Ross for her Protect Working Musicians Act, which could go some ways towards helping that. And Live Nation has put work into convincing artists that there are allies in the fight against other problems, against predatory resale companies. We know from evidence that came out in the trial that that's not the case, that Live Nation has been complicit in encouraging predatory resale practices, and this becomes a key way that they maintain their monopoly. But it's been part of their strategy to keep some artists quiet about the harms we've experienced. I mean, basically, it comes down to, as I said before, we want partners who share our values.
I know, Mr. Nicolay, we reached out to a whole bunch of different musical artists, and you were the only one willing to come forward to do this.